Welcome, students, to Opinion Writing Lesson 7. Today we are going to strengthen our opinion writing essays by anticipating the counter-argument. Before we begin, let's clarify a few new words. The first word, anticipating, means to think ahead and foresee what might happen or what might be said. An example would be if you were playing in your room and you heard your parents' footsteps getting closer, you know your room is extra messy, you may anticipate that when your parent sees your room, he or she will tell you to clean it up. The next word is counter-argument. The counter-argument is the argument someone gives to counter yours or to go against yours. A more sophisticated version of yeah, nah, of that. Speaking of sophisticated, here is a picture of two brothers arguing. The first argument offered or opinion is, I'm the smarter brother. The sibling, most likely having heard this argument a million times before, anticipates that his brother will bring up the fact that he is older and that's what makes him smarter. So the other brother says, just because you're older doesn't mean you're smarter. The brother has anticipated what he was going to say. If you have an older sibling, you might be familiar with that. So I know what you're thinking. Why give up the counter argument? Why tell somebody what the argument to your reason would be? Why argue against yourself? Well, this isn't always the best method to use in persuasive writing, especially if the counter argument is stronger than your reason. But let's be real. Sometimes when you make an argument, everybody in the room is thinking the counter argument anyways. And it's going to be to your benefit to just address that, yes, I've thought of this counter argument. And then it gives you the opportunity to continue on persuading your audience and saying why you've thought of that and you still don't think that that is the strongest reason or counter argument. And then you have the opportunity to continue, and then it shuts down the other person's opportunity or the audience's opportunity to have that argument. So you can count it in your favor. So it says, why give up the counter argument? And then there's two bullets. It says it shows that you've considered other points. It means that you've looked at the other side. Nobody wants somebody who only looks at one side of an argument. You want to show that you are capable of considering the other side. You've thought about it, you've considered it, and you've still come to the conclusion that your argument is, or your side is, the stronger side. And then it also takes away the counter argument from the audience or whoever is going to argue with you, because you've already said, yeah, I've already thought about that, but it's still not very strong. Okay, so to do this assignment, you're going to have to first bring up your opinion and your reason. So you can see mine. My opinion is school should teach year-round. And my three reasons that I've had through this whole writing unit they're the same. They are students and teachers will get more frequent breaks that reduce stress. You'll remember I used that reason when I talked about my personal life experiences, and I use that strategy when supporting that reason. My second reason is not having a big chunk of time, which is the summer, away from learning. We'll avoid summer slide. And then I used facts to support the fact that this happens. There are studies that have been done. There are percentages I can show you. So that strategy I used to support that reason. And then here I am at reason 3. Parents still have to go to work and have difficulty finding childcare while they work. That's my reason 3. Perhaps that may be my weakest reason, which this works in my favor because that is my weakest reason. I'm able then to call to front what people are going to say against that, and then it's going to give me an opportunity to continue on with my thoughts about this. Okay, so let's pull up my reason 3. I'm focusing on reason 3. Parents still have to go to work in the summer and have difficulty finding childcare while they work. My next move is I have to anticipate the counter argument. I need to think, what would somebody say when I tell you this is a reason why we should have year-round school? What would somebody say to argue with that? I think someone might say, finding childcare is not hard because community centers offer summer programs along with community organizations. That is a very good point. How can I argue back, or how can I respond to the counter argument? What are some things I could say so that my reason is not shut down, and actually at the end of this, my reason is even stronger, showing that I've thought about that counter argument? Now I'm going to have to do some thinking. You can't see me thinking because of my picture in the screen, but I'm thinking how I need to respond to that. Okay, so again, my reason is on the top. When we construct our paragraph, when you go to write your paragraph for this assignment, you're going to want to start out by stating your opinion and your reason. So I have mine on the top. Then I'm going to want to give my counter argument, which I've already thought of. This is what I think someone's going to say to me. Finding childcare is not hard because community centers and summer programs, along with other community organizations, offer these summer programs. Okay. Now, after some thinking, I've come up with some things I can say back to that counter argument that is going to keep my reason strong and hopefully even make it a little bit stronger. My response to the counter argument is, although it is true that most communities do a great job of offering summer programs, and resourceful parents can find places for their children to attend when out of school, look at that. You see what I just did? I gave that credit. I didn't say that counter argument is dumb or that's not a good one. I gave it credit and I said, yes, this might be true. That shows that as a writer and as a person who's come to this opinion, I have been thoughtful and I've looked at all sides, and I've even given credit to good counter arguments. So I give that props. I say that is a good point. But then I kind of start to shift it. I say it comes at a price. The price can sometimes be hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on the program. Also, it can be hard enough for some kids to find friends during the school year. Now they have to worry about a whole new program with new kids and new leaders. Community programs that are, let's see, I can't read my community programs. Basically, I talk about the safety and the supervision because these programs are hosted by teenagers or supervised by teenagers. They're usually right out of high school. They have no specialized training in dealing and supporting kids that have needs or extra challenges. Then I say, how do you expect proper safety and supervision when these programs are usually packed full with children? And then I talk about how parents have to work. So unless a parent has a lot of money to find, camps and programs, then the rest of us just need to take what we can get and keep making money for our families. So it's kind of cut off there, but you get the idea of how my counter argument is going to sound. So here is your assignment. It is to write a paragraph using the counter argument strategy. And just like in the last side, you're going to format it or organize it with your reason and opinion first. Then you're going to acknowledge the counter argument in your writing. And you don't have to acknowledge it in like a snarky or sarcastic way. You can even give it credit if it is a good counter argument. And then address the concerns. And at this point, you can also add other points that you have about the reason. You heard me when I did my example, and you can look at it too, how the original reason was parents having difficulty finding childcare. Then when the rebuttal or the counter argument was, it's not that hard to find them, I went on to still talk about the summer programs, but you notice I didn't really talk about finding them anymore. I started talking about the quality of them. So if somebody did want to argue with, oh no, they're easy to find, well, now I've pulled out a few more other points that would maybe make somebody say, oh yeah, and I've kind of redirected their attention to another problem or another argument, but it still stays within the umbrella of the child care programs during the summer months. You can see from my example assignment that I've color coded it. The pink on the top is the part where I state my opinion and my reason. Having school all year round just makes sense. It especially makes sense for parents who have to go to work. Parents often have difficulty finding childcare during those summer months. Period. There is my opinion and there is my reason right there in 3 sentences. My blue part is my counter argument that I'm feeling like a lot of people might think or say. Although it is true that most communities do a great job offering summer programs, and resourceful parents can find places for their children to attend when out of school, that's where I'm acknowledging it. But then it turns quickly and it goes back to the more things I want to say to prove my point. It comes at a price. The price can sometimes be, I'm not going to read all this over to you again. You can pause it and read it again if you want, except for the part where my picture takes up. But you get the idea. So this is where I start talking about making new friends, having new leaders. Are these leaders capable of dealing with this many kids? What about all the unique needs of each child? And what does safety and supervision look like? And is it high quality? And is it fair for parents who have more money to be able to do more camps? So then I bring up all these other ideas that I can fill the readers, the audience's head with before I leave with this argument.